So we did have a new All-Pro vote from the LEC this week. Thoughts, Thorin, after our massive criticism of the LCK All-Pro putting all of KT first team and all of Gen G second team in the last week?
Well, the main problem here is, like, also, that's another thing. We've touched on it a little bit on this show, but why has that gone under the radar? Like, dude, I've told you, we said this about the LPL one last week. I love the fact that these tournaments now in the modern day have, like, the sports style thing, like a regular season MVP, all pro, so that you can be on, like the best example ever is it didn't happen, but if this had been a normal split of, like, how old LEC ran, then in spring, Jankos would have actually made all pro, even though he was on one of the worst teams, because he was just a really good player, even though his team sucked. Why have they changed everything now? Like, as far as I can tell, wasn't it just, Monte, that now you just do one All-Pro for the whole year? That sounds terrible. Not least because the number one problem with all votes in League of Legends is recency bias. And if you go look at who they've voted for, they have just done recency bias. Like, have you seen how many times XL has, like, coaching staff, like, people at the top? Like, give me a break, mate. Like, you've basically just done it off the last split, haven't you?
So they have been doing them every split. So this is particularly for the summer split.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. This is the dumbest part. Like, the reason why I really lampoon LCK is that was just the regular season and you're giving all the first. They're doing it here, Monte, where you vote for All-Pro after the playoffs. Like, what is that? Like, I still don't even really understand what you are voting for there. Like, essentially, isn't the game rigged so that to not be in the first team, you have to be really fucking bad if you win? Like, what are we voting for? You know what I mean?
I can't even really tell what they're voting for, because, like, for the players, it was just for the summer split. But for the coaching staff, it says number one coaching staff of the LEC season. So it feels like they're giving year-end awards, right, for coaching staff, but we haven't actually seen year-end awards for players. And yet the summer All-Pro, it's just for summer All-Pro, and we haven't seen, like, a season MVP. Maybe that's yet to be announced, to be fair. The coaching staff was announced just 4 hours ago, but it is confusing. It's confusing, again, because of the formats that they're using. So it seems like they are going to have more season-ending awards before the season finals actually begin. It looks like they're going to be releasing one of those a week. But even for the coaching staff, it is pretty insane that you would have XL's coaching staff in there, given their finishes in two of the splits, to your point about
recency. I mean, they're going to argue that those were the same staff or whatever, but then I would just say this. If it's for the whole year, Monte, then by definition, this staff gets 0 for the first split, don't they? They weren't there. Yeah. There's different coaching staff. So that's why I say the coaching staff gives away the bias. Like, some people have XL number one coaching staff because their logic just going off summers. Like, wow, look at them. They went all the way to second place. Here's another one for you, mate. I'm looking at all the people who are, like, having the different angles. How is everyone just fine with Humanoid being second team mid laner? Like, what are we even doing at this point in time? Like, if we were picking players from Fnatic, wouldn't he be, like, the 4th or 5th best player? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't get it, mate, because here's the weirdest thing about that. Like, using the same logic of recency bias. We're not, it's like, was Vethio not better than fucking Humanoid? Is Larson not better than Humanoid? What are we doing here? Like, second best mid? I don't get it, mate. I don't get it. The rest of the Fnatic players are good picks. Like, I don't mind them, but Humanoid second, give me a break.
Even in summer, I would argue that Abadage had a really good split overall. Remember, he looked like he was returning back to form, and Humanoid was incredibly shaky in some of the games that Fnatic was winning. I do think it's kind of the bias towards Fnatic. And just based on the voting, it was that a lot of people, I think, split between Humanoid and Abadage. We did see a couple, like, Larson votes. Notably from, former teammate Finn. I guess he picked up Larson in the second team All-Pro. But
also technically Swedish as well. So
I mean, you know what's also crazy is that Abadage received more first team votes than Humanoid did. Humanoid
to where the votes are and all that crap.
Yeah, but so Abadage received like 4 or 5
link to the ballot.
Oh yeah. I'll link it to the ballot. Abadage received more first team All-Pro votes than Humanoid did, and yet Humanoid ended up as the second team All-Pro, even though it looked like it was very close in terms of the number of votes between Humanoid and Abadage for second team. So it does feel bad. I mean, it does feel bad, and I certainly don't think, given Humanoid's performance, that
Holy
he earned
shit,
the second team All-Pro.
I can't take this, mate. I can't actually handle this. Have you seen this fucking ballot? Like, go look at the top here, Cecilia Chiocchetti, right, who works for Esports. Oh, don't worry, they just had humanoid first mid laner. What?
The only one.
What?
The only vote for humanoid first mid laner.
What is that,
also,
mate?
just
Holy shit.
Just the players too.
Wow.
You know, there are tons that are just all 5 of the G2 players, right? There are a bunch of these ballots that are just all 5 players, or like 4 of the players with Noah. It's
I can at least give them a break that like G2 should probably at least have like 3 first team. They were very good. I'll give them that. Like, it's not as bad.
They were more dominant relative to the rest of the field than KT was. I mean, the thing about KT in the Korean All-Pro voting was that those Gen G and KT were literally 1 match apart, right? So it does beggar belief that you could have all 5 KT members and say that Gen G has no players that are best in their role.
Holy shit, this is mental. Have you seen how many people have voted El Yoya? Bro, some people have him second. What? I mean, look, obviously the guy having him second is from fucking Esports Maniacals. Mate, there's another thing. This is why if you don't know, by the way, there's a reason I only ever talk about these on talk shows and I don't make a video every split. Because I realized it's the same as like the Worlds format where they had the group stage with the people divided. You can only make the same video like 3 times, mate. It gets boring. Like, it doesn't matter that the new fan doesn't know the info. Like, I'm so fucking bored of seeing these ballots and then people just vote for people from their country. Like, it's not funny that Esports Maniacals thinks El Yoya, who, by the way, just had easily the worst split of his whole career, and you can argue, because he's the clear star of the team, tanked their team, and he's the second best jungler in LEC. What are we doing? This is supposed to be for history. Like, also, just because this dickhead is from Spain, we have to have him ruin the vote. Like, by that logic, Monte, can you imagine, by the way? Let me just I'll give you the contrast that'll show you how fucking stupid this is. Can you imagine if I got a vote, Monte, if it said Duncan Shields there, and I just voted for people from the UK who were shit every time as All-Pro? Do you think everyone would sit there and go, this is fine, think about how they've complained about my career. Do you think they'd go, yeah, no problem. I mean, he's from the UK as well, so understandable you'd be biased. Like, give me a break, mate. It's just sad. It's just sad, mate.
Also, I think it does, not having VTO in the top 3. I mean, you just have to ask questions such as
the French guy, of course, Monte, who voted him first mid laner. It's just fucking, this whole thing's stupid, isn't it, mate? Give me a break. Give me a fucking break.
The thing is, though, that obviously Heretics exceeded expectations, right? Within summer. Nobody thought they were going to be doing this well. So you have to have some feasible reason why Heretics was doing better and they were able to make top 4. So you're saying a top 4 team, and we know that the reason was like Jankos and VTO. I would argue Jankos probably deserves second team All-Pro, if not arguably first team All-Pro. I think you could make that. I think you could make an argument there, even though Yike, the thing about Yike in the summer split was that he transitioned primarily to tank play,
keep going.
He did his job as a tank within G2, and I think that was a good dimensionalization of his play, but he wasn't necessarily as dominant individually as he's been in the past on some of his carry champions, whereas I think Jankos really stood out as being one of the main engines that was powering Heretics to their kind of top 4 placement within the summer playoffs. So I think both VTO and Jankos probably deserve at least better recognition than they actually received as a result of this vote.
I also have to inform you of something else. There are 2 people who voted Peach the second best jungler.
That is outrageous.
What? The one with that one, it's like, what are you even voting for there? You really think he was the reason why XL second? I'm like, give me a break. The fuck? Why are people so blind?
That is like a troll vote. It's like if you only watched the one Lee Sin game and then didn't watch any of the Maokai games where he randomly dies very early on in the jungle. It's pretty crazy. Hopefully, though, Thorin, since they do appear to be doing season-ending awards for the coaching staff right now, we will get a season MVP, and hopefully that player will be Mickey X. I will be very sad if it isn't, because I think he has been the most consistent member of G2 over the course of the entire year.
Here's the problem I have, right? I hate it already when players do mad biased votes, but the other thing I hate is when the press and the media are people I don't even know and they're doing stupid votes. So here's another good one for you. How about this? Someone called Carver Fisher, whoever the fuck that sounds like some character fucking Samuel L. Jackson played in a movie. Carver Fisher would like the world to know that Limit was the best support player, not Mickey X. I know I just saw Mickey X run the whole fucking LEC for the whole year and win 2 of the championships, including the most recent one. And that's what this is voting for. But no, I was wrong, Monty. It was Limit all along. Fucking hell. Like, Limit was one of the least important parts of that fucking team. What are we doing here? What is this? What the fuck is it? Also, I'd love to know the brain logic, right? Of like, Limit is the best support player, but then like, the only other players are Abadagi. Like, by your logic, surely Odoamne and Patrick are the best as well. If we're doing all XL one, like, there's no rhyme or reason to these, mate. There's nothing.
I'm really glad you didn't look at these before the show, so you could just get
garbage,
triggered live.
It's just garbage.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was less outraged by seeing all 5 members of G2 than I was seeing all 5 members of KT. And by the way, guys, of course, I'm the famous KT fan, so that says a lot. But it because of G2's relative dominance. But even so, I think it does make you wonder.
The whole premise of what All-Pro is doesn't exist anymore, and now you've just ruined it. That's it. Brilliant. Great job. Good job. Good job.
Well, I think the problem with a lot of these All-Pro votes, Thorin, is that many of the members of the press probably are not informed enough, potentially, in order to make reasonable votes, and the players just don't care. So, the problem is the players are just not going to put a lot of time into thinking about these things, and they're requested to do it. But they're not gonna actively.
In my experience, the problem pros have is pros A just don't care about historical stuff, so they think it's a waste of time, or B, they actually think that here's the problem. I don't think a lot of pros even do all pros well. I think what they really do is they just tell you who they think are the 3 best people at the role at the time. Like, I think half of their shit's off scrims quite clearly if you look at some of the votes. But players, I can at least forgive their Monty, because the premise goes they might be voting on things we don't know about. The press ones kill me, because it's like, why do the press even get a vote, mate? Like, is it just as like a payoff for covering the league? Because, like, for example, why does the shitty LEC Wooloo Pokemon guy get to vote for historical posterity as to who the best players are in LA? Why? I don't get it, mate. So because he was wrong a few times about he just gets to vote on history. What? Like, what I don't get is, I'm not even joking. I don't know now. Maybe now people wouldn't do it. But a couple of years ago, Monty, if you'd have come to the following list of people, depending on what their job at the time was, people like Dom, LS, Papa Smith, they would all agree to be on a panel and vote for this if you asked them. Like, they care about history. They would actually do it right even. So why do we have to have people that we either don't know or just fucking randoms voting? I don't know. I don't get it, mate. Same with some of the talent. Like, in some ways, you're almost setting the talent up to fail, Monty, when you get like the interviewer and tell them to vote on the best 3 players. Like, I don't even blame them if they're wrong. Like, you shouldn't even be giving them a vote, in my opinion.
What's weird about this, Thorin, is that only 4 members of the talent actually voted on the All-Pro, which are Medic, Lord, Yamato Cannon, and Vedius. Yamato Cannon is a very part-time talent, and we don't have Goldborg or Kadrol even voting. I find that odd.
Also, what does anyone even know? What is the status of Yamato Cannon's like contract? Is he technically like still under contract to Fnatic? Like, how does that work? Is that not a conflict of interest? Who knows, right? Is he released? I don't know.
Yeah,
because he shouldn't be voting for this if he's not. Like, what? It's just a secret Fnatic vote in it. And what do you know? He put Razork fucking best jungler. Yeah, all right, mate. I don't think so. Somehow, I don't think so. So okay, nice, brilliant.
Yeah, but a lot of the talent either recused themselves or weren't asked as a result of this. So I think those people who have been very active in terms of watching every game and whose jobs it is to evaluate this stuff. Like, I would like to see Kadrol's votes in here for sure. It's tough. I don't know. Well, it's a bummer. Hopefully that they can actually rectify some of this for at least the season stuff. I do think it's hard at times to evaluate All-Pro when the splits are so short. You know what I mean? I actually don't even think you need All-Pro every single split of of LEC because it's inherently going to be biased towards the top 4 teams because the top 4 teams are going to have the majority of the playtime, right? And I don't think there's a way to escape from the recency bias of each individual split when you are everybody's basically just going to pick players from the top 4 teams every single time as a result of the format. So I would rather just see this with a more long view where you do the entire season All-Pro rather than just having it done split by split because
I'll give you some more mental ones. Here's some more mental ones people aren't going to notice. Because this one, you remember, obviously the most outrageous ones are in the first team and the second team, or if it's related to like race, country or nationality. Tell you what is mental, Monty. Look how many people. There's even one in second, but it's on third team. Look how many for third team ADC have Kazi. You do know they lost like 10 games in a row or something. Like, are we actually going to pretend that didn't happen? They're only doing it for the summer split, Monty. And this is the team that lost, like, what was it, 9 or 10 games? I'll have to check if it was, I think it was 9, but I'll have to double check. And he was your third best ADC. Didn't even make the playoffs, by the way. Like, I don't know what we're doing it on now. As far as I can tell, I get why the esports Manicos guy did it, because he plays for Mad Lions and they're Spanish. But like, aside from that, why are we even doing these votes? It's just garbage, mate.
No, don't know.
Like essentially, if we combine it together, like LEC and LCK, All-Pro just means nothing now. Like, and LCK just means you finished first, and then LCK, I mean LEC, I don't even know what the rhyme or reason is. We've said there's like 50 different reasons why they're voting. Like, the joke is, I would be annoyed if they only did recency bias. Some of these look like the opposite. Like, how are you voting people for Mad Lions in the top 3 teams? Like, they were that good. They weren't, surely.
Yeah. Gotta agree with you there.
Because sadly, we're actually, by the way, it's going to keep going like this in all esports. We're never going to get, like, what we have in sports now is like the sweet spot that is going to go away. Because one thing I hate in Counter-Strike, people might know this, is, you know, everyone reveres the HLTV top 20 players of the year list. It's like this, but worse, mate, because it goes based on like whether, like, they do shit like in their tournament, they give away MVP, but then they give away EVP, which means that you performed really well, but you weren't the MVP. So they give, like, let's say 5 to 10 players, something like that, depending on how big the tournament is. So essentially, their list also, for real, isn't an individual player list, like they make it sound like. It's just, did your team get far enough in tournaments to allow you to get up the list? So it just becomes the same thing. What is the point in individual awards in a team game based on the team's award? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just nothing. Like, now history will never know anyone who plays for a bad team was good. They'll never know. There's no way to tell.
Yep.
And
I agree.
Now,
that's the
someone
central
will
problem.
go back and look and go, oh, I guess Peach wasn't a mate. Like, what's the point? What's the point there? There's not even like a Korean. That's just fucking shit. Like, at this point, you almost objectively can't watch what you're seeing on a League of Legends screen. Like, you should just have your vote taken away from you immediately. Because I don't blame anyone who voted. I blame idiots giving them the vote, mate. It's a bit like my view on politics. There you go, straight fire. Fucking
not an unreasonable view. Oh man, yeah. I don't know how you fix this though, because you want on one side you want a sample size big enough so that
let's be real. You really do have to narrow down the panel. Like, obviously we can't control for a giant panel like this, because as we said, think about it, Monty. They're voting for like contrary reasons. Someone's doing it for nationality. This one's doing it from scrims. This one's doing it for. I think for real, you probably want a panel of like 10 people max, and you just want it to be where they all. It's like the esports awards. You all understand the premise of what you're voting for and what you're selecting for, and then you just try and do your best job. And if after that, by the way, people have really obscure, like, different opinions. Like, if after that someone really does have El Yoya, their third best jungler, okay, maybe sometimes I can forgive that. But like, I can't do it when then they're just Spanish and he's Spanish and magically he's there. But you know what I mean? Like, that's too on the nose, mate. Like, you have to have your vote taken away if you do that, I'm afraid.
I think the problem is that you have to actually get these people into a room or into a call where they're all paying
like
attention.
12 angry men, they're going to argue with each other. You're going to actually like debate the topic, basically. Yeah, like a jury. I think so.
Yeah, you do actually have to get the people into a room and make sure they're paying attention, and you can actually have a discussion about this stuff. Because if you don't do that, people will vote with their own criteria in isolation, or just submit dumb votes that don't make any sense. So, but the thing is, Thorin, is that none of these people want to spend the time to get into a room to make sure history is right, because at the end of the day, they ultimately don't care. And that's the fundamental issue with the LCK stuff. It's with all of the All-Pro voting. I think there's two issues. One of which is that there isn't, this is going to sound weird, there isn't a large enough sample size, because in All-Pro, in a larger All-Pro voting, like you see in perhaps the NFL, they generally do a pretty good job. But if you have a large enough sample size, it can limit the bias, right? So you either have to have a group of people who really just wants to get into the weeds and argue with each other for a few hours about how this is going to turn out and spend the time to do that, or you have to have a large enough sample size that it actually makes sense. But the problem in esports compared to traditional sports is there simply aren't enough experts in order to have a large pool, right? There simply aren't. In the NFL, you have 32 teams. You have people, you have journalists who have spent their entire lives covering this game and who do very much care about the history, right? And who do have a professional reason to get all of this stuff right. And at least in the sample size is just too small in esports. It's just too small. And they're not willing to go out. Riot would rather die than put our names or other people's names who spend all of their time working on this game on that ballot. So they lose even more people who could actually be trying to shift the vote into a place that actually makes sense, or who would be willing to engage in these conversations and who would be willing to spend time, because I just don't like people. So there you go.
The problem is, though, like, as mad as it sounds, the LCK one is way more egregious, because, like, you do have an amazing sample size there. You have, like, what, 18 fucking best of threes. Like, the joke is the LCK should be the easiest to do an awesome All-Pro vote on. That's why one thing that I did hate was now it just set them up for all those shit jokes, Monty, where when KT lost, everyone could just be like, lol, the 5 best players lost, like when Mad Lions did it, that split in LEC. But the problem with that is that's the fact that they lost the playoffs doesn't prove they were wrong. They were wrong anyway, guys. Like, they didn't have the 5 best players in the LCK. Like, that, I don't even know anyone who ever thought that was the case, by the way. Even the biggest KT stan in the world surely had a couple of players from other teams in his 5. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, surely everyone had, like, someone instead of BDD or something, or fucking instead of Cuz. Come on, they seem like the obvious ones.
Cuz is the most egregious one. Cuz is the most egregious one, because I don't even think you can make any kind of argument that Cuz deserved it more than Peanut did. I mean,
the joke is the guy from Esports Maniacos thinks El Yoya deserved it more than fucking Cuz, didn't he? So, Tim, he didn't get a vote in it. The joke is, here's my really base take. The only good thing about these awards is they show that objectively, left to their own devices, humans are incapable of actually making democracy work. There you go. Problem solved. Basically, make me a dictator and I'll solve the whole thing for you. I'll make the fucking trains run on time, boys.
Thorin for esports dictator.
Exactly.
History will be set right.
Exactly.
No holes in the timeline.
I'm a huge fan of God Emperor of Doom, but I just want people to, like, willingly give me that status. I don't want to have to actually earn it and battle for it myself. I just want to be granted that status of universal dictator tyrant.
Too funny. Too funny.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.